Hello there, and welcome back to the penultimate live of 2024. I just had to check, make sure it was still 2024. This year is absolutely flying by. However, I would like to, just before we get into today's stream, it's mainly going to be a Q&A. I do have a few things to be building on the desk. You might have seen a second ago, I do have my dioramas out. There's a big change coming for my dioramas. But first off, I just want to speak a little bit about what's happening next week. It will be the last stream of the year. I don't think there's anything special planned. I don't have anything special planned yet. There might be a few different sneak peeks to upcoming videos, and there is a big project that I think I might start working on across December. However, next week is also the Friday before Black Friday, or it's the Monday before Black Friday, as we're not streaming on a Friday. So because it's the Monday before Black Friday, we're going to be looking over deals. We're also going to be covering the December releases. There won't be a video. I know I have been doing these rumor and release videos since April last year. So we've been going on over a year and a half. I don't think I did one for November. I think I styled it differently, but that's a lot. That's like 18, 19. So we're not going to be hitting 20. I might do one for May still next year, because that is a very important date for us Star Wars fans. However, we'll be talking about December releases. There was something else as well. December releases, Black Friday, and honestly, I cannot remember what the other thing was. So let me just double check my schedule here. Oh, and also talking about 2025 sets as well. I suppose that ties in with the December releases, looking at January's releases. And there's been a few rumors as well for sets in February, March, and May. I don't think I've seen any for April, but of course, April is still important for us Star Wars fans, because we are getting I think it's the character encyclopedia, which comes with an Episode 9 Palpatine, which alongside Darth Ray in the Dark Falcon will be the only two sequel minifigures that we have on our shelves, what with the other Falcon, the Rise of Skywalker Falcon, retiring at the end of this year. So that's going to be very, very interesting. But like I said, today, mainly going to be Q&A, answering questions. Anyone that has questions, just feel free in any live stream to pop in, ask the question, and I'll try and answer it as soon as I can. I think last week I was getting a bit behind with the chat, and it was taking like 20 minutes to read it. So let's get into the chat now. First off, hello there to Juicy Cheese. Not sure if you're still watching, but you got in here real early, about half an hour ago. It's nice to see a load of people getting excited for the streams in the chat a while before it goes live. We've got that unknown guy who says, how is your day going? Mine is actually going pretty well, considering it's a Monday morning. It is. I'm really excited for today. I've got a few things to work on later. They also asked, when am I doing another custom minifigs, and could I make a Vader if he still got defeated on Mustafar? That fits in to the next. I think I've already got the Inquisitor on Vader. He gets defeated but not burned, if I'm correct in remembering that comment. I think I've got that planned. It was originally going to be today, but with the streams, I'm trying not to double up videos, because Minifigure Monday does go hand in hand with the Monday streams, and I was going to leave it about 2 weeks and then do it on the first Monday without a stream. I might get away with posting it next Sunday instead. I've got a few minifigure designs, but it is building up. A minute to go. Yeah, technically we are a few minutes early. I mean, we went live about 4 minutes ago, 4.5 minutes ago. So we tend to be early here, but I try not to get started with, especially if it's building. You all really seem to like the build stream. I think I made a community post about it, and it hit 100 views, which is the most any of these streams have hit. I think it was like 10 hours, 59 minutes. It wasn't even 11 hours. So there are going to be a ton more build streams in 2025. I have one lined up for the first Monday of January. I think it's something like the 4th or the 5th. And we are going to go straight into the new year, go in live. Well, not straight into the new year, a few days later, go in live, building hopefully a Lego Star Wars set. We'll have to see what I pick up in January. There are a few leaks for January as well that we can definitely cover in this video. But as it's just hit 10, what I'm going to be doing in this video, I have 5 of my dioramas out. I mentioned that I am going to be downsizing, specifically the dioramas. I don't think much else. Perhaps I can also downsize. I still have the Lego AAT. I've just broken down the AV7, and I'm actually considering building miniatures of these models just to remember my first big Star Wars custom ships that I built purely well, I say purely myself. The head is off the Lego set, but that works too well not to use. But the rest of them purely built without any sort of instructions, guidelines. We've got Vader's TIE Advance, but I use the wings off the bomber. So I do feel like that's a little bit cheating. And actually tomorrow, so yesterday's video, I will touch on this before we get started on downsizing the dioramas. Yesterday's video, I covered 3 little Lego Christmas builds that I saw walking around Morrison's. They are really, really cool. But it got brought to my attention that Lego have some as well. So hopefully tomorrow's video will be that video where I look over. Lego only had 2, but one of them is pretty big. I mean, these were £2 each or 3 for a £5. Legos comes to £15 or £25. And the £15 one isn't much bigger than Santa Claus here. So that's going to be a really interesting video. Definitely keep your eye out for that tomorrow. But like I said, I'm downsizing all but one of my dioramas. I do have my Tantive boarding diorama just back here. I like it too much to get rid of. The unknown guy asked, do I know how much all the Christmas minifigures from Star Wars cost to the last 2 advent calendars from 2 years and 1 year ago? Oh, I know some of them aren't. It's mainly the torsos, because I've looked at also getting, I have all of the advent characters now that I've got the 2022 advent calendar, which was a steal, by the way. I got that for retail price. No, I got that for less than retail price, including delivery. I think it come to like $28.99. And I think because of some of the minifigures, what you're probably best doing from someone who has a Bricklink store is buying the advent, and then the 2022 advent, for instance, as that is that's 3 years ago now. Whew. Well, it's 2 years ago. So I don't know if you are in need of the 2022 advent, but if you were, it comes with a Snowtrooper that only comes in the UTS AT-AT. So the headpiece mainly is going to be worth some. And it also comes with a Clone Commander exclusive to the booster pack. I never saw it in stock. I only went to a Lego store a handful of times when it was being stocked, but that is quite a good minifigure to sell to try and get some of the money back. But you do have to try and find a good deal on the advent. Otherwise, I'd say look for the torsos, because the minifigures go for a lot more, especially some of the ones like Rey from the episode 9 sets. I'm not sure how many sets exactly she was included in, but there are a few rarer minifigures. Luke Skywalker and the Emperor, which are both recent. They only came in the final door. I'm not quite sure about any of the other Christmas sweater minifigures. I mean, Poe Dameron is exclusive to the advent. It's not based off another minifigure. I think the best thing to do would definitely be look for the torsos. And if you can find just the torso rather than the torso with the arms, sometimes they go for pennies, because that will really help if you're trying to buy these. Otherwise, they go for the Christmas sweater minifigures go for like £5 to £10 as far as I have seen. But they're, of course, for the ones that I don't have, so maybe they are a bit rarer. I think, yeah, definitely if you can pick up just the Christmas sweaters. I'm not quite sure if you own all the minifigures, but a lot of the parts, like Luke's hair, has been on the Pick-a-Brick online on Lego.com for a while now. It's fairly a cheap piece. I think if I had to approximate, it would probably be somewhere between £3 to £5 per sweater. I'm not quite sure. Some torsos will definitely be cheaper than £3. You can definitely pick them up, especially if you're not fussed about damaged torsos. Not necessarily a cracked one. I wouldn't recommend picking up a cracked one, but if you can get like one where the back printing has a little smudge or something little that isn't going to be noticeable from the front, especially for someone like the Emperor, who I'm pretty sure in saying has a cape with his minifigure. If there's damage to the back of the torso, you could probably get away with it, and you can always request images on Bricklink and somewhere like that. So you do have 3PO and R2. Okie So the Emperor and Ewok, I guess this year's minifigures are definitely cheaper in the actual Advent. I've seen it, I mean, in the UK, it hits November and the Advents drop down to £20. I'm not sure if Lego have a sale on Advents, but that will be this year's. It always goes down as well for the new year and something like that. The Emperor doesn't have a cape. Maybe I've just given, I have a ton of spare capes, so I must have just given a ton of capes to my minifigures at some point, which I'm hoping to do actually later this month when the Batman magazine comes out. I know not everyone's going to be interested in capes, but I am interested in the displayability of Lego Star Wars minifigures with that rubber cape, because if they can add a little swoosh to the cape, I think it could be interesting from a photography side of things if we can have some different rubber capes. But at the same point, I think they should probably release them in some sort of rubber cape booster pack, if anything. Juicy Cheese asked, what if you built your own custom all-terrain walker? Well, I mean, to be fair, that's why I picked up. There were two reasons I picked up the ATT, actually. There were three reasons I picked up the ATTE. One of which I always wanted one as a child. That was the one set. For a load of people, it's the gunship, because Lego released a lot of ATTE walkers. But for me, it was the ATTE, especially with how much it shows up in the Clone Wars. It's always been the set that I wanted, so picking that up was probably my biggest white wow purchase. And then obviously, after picking that up, it trickled down to the gunship. Now it's probably something like a Star Destroyer, because I did pick up the Venator, but having the updated class would be nice. And of course, Cody being in the set, that was reason 2. Anyway, reason 3 was to build a minifigure scout version of it, which at the time, I do believe this slightly predates, no, Anakin's Pod Racer come out in 2019. I can't remember exactly when the ATT came out, but it was around the time when I was discovering 145 minifigure scout. Anyway, when I sized it up about a year ago, turns out it's already 145 minifigure scale, so I probably would build my own in terms of upgrades, and I always wanted to modify it to be the Rebels one, but it was just too nice to pull apart. So perhaps I can definitely modify it to have that little bridge that the one in Rebels has, and for it to be a bit open. But as far as the Lego one going, it's 145. It's probably as near perfect as I want mine to get. It'd be interesting trying to tackle it with another ship if I took something like the AT-80 and tried to make it into an ATTE. Next time we get a set like the AT-80 or something that has those leg joints and something that would be able to hold itself with all the Technic components to make sure it's a secure build and doesn't end up looking like my minifigure Scout Rex Y-Wing, I'll definitely be giving that definitely be trying to tackle it. Bought the ATTE for 111 euros. So euros works out to be a bit more. I've got to do a quick math top of my head. That's a really good price. I think I picked mine up, it must have been about a year afterwards for 15-20% off, something like that, which honestly in pounds, I think it's about £120 retail, or it was when it was on shelves quite some time ago now. But it must only be like 2-3 years. It was still on shelves, but I probably got it for not far off that price. It was probably like £105, something like that. So to see that in euros is really, really good. If I am muted or cut out, I don't know if it's the internet connection. So far, YouTube is telling me I've got excellent connection, but I mean, half the time it says that and the video I'm watching is buffering. So I'm not quite sure if I'll be taking YouTube's. It's usually pretty good. Hopefully I'm not cutting out, but definitely feel free to let me know if I am in the chat. So anyway, the dioramas. We've been talking about Lego sets for 10 minutes. We're going to be talking about Lego sets for another 2 hours, but I'm shrinking down these dioramas onto 8x16 plates, which is almost a quarter. It's about a third of, when you size it up like this, it's a third of the size, but we are going to be rotating it to keep the shape of the diorama. And the reason for this, I do have quite a few of these base plates. In fact, I have 5, enough for these. And I might try and build a miniature Tantive board in diorama. I did build a battle pack, I think it was, or something, a little set. Maybe it was a poly bag using some spare pieces I had left over. Hopefully that's enough to build a little mini diorama, which, if anything happens to the tentative one, would just be nice to keep around. But 5 plates for these 5 dioramas. Dirk does have to go in around 20 minutes. That's okay. You can check. I'm not going to do highlights for this video because it is very much just me building Lego and a Q&A as we go through. Anyone that pops in, I mean, there's 6 people at the minute. Any of you have any questions to ask, mostly Lego, but I'll probably answer most of them if they're not. Let me know down in the chat or in the comments after this video has gone out. You can always ask questions in the comments. I can't promise I'll always get to them. I'm a bit behind on comments so far, but I am eventually going to read it at the least. So Dirk is, so I'm just going to start breaking this down. At some point, I would like to swap this from being stickers to actual plates. And I think once it is sized down, because there's only going to be like one of these, maybe we can get it done at the end of the stream. Dirk's new in mock building. Do I have some tips? If so, could I maybe make a mock tip special? Oh, that's a really good idea. I've been doing a few behind the scenes videos for members. I've got one hopefully coming out soon about the water slide decals, which I have now picked up. I mentioned it in, I don't know what video. I think it must have been my Nightmare Before Christmas video. I've finally purchased water slide decals after having a few problems with those customs. So hopefully if I can get to work with them, I'll have some sort of tip video out. And the only reason I lock it behind members is because, well, because I am quite new to this, and I don't think my tips and tricks aren't necessarily the best pieces of advice. But if people do want to know, I can definitely make a public video talking about my tips, because mock building is not it's not as easy as it looks. I think sometimes, especially in a video, when I just pull apart a set and build it straight up, you don't see the days or perhaps weeks for some of them spent building and breaking, and you just get that sort of end of the start and the end of it in terms of what the mock is actually, how much time goes into the mocks, I think. And it would definitely be good to take it a bit slower. What I can do as well, which would be really good, is in the new year, obviously there's not many sets right now, which means I might have built my last mock of 2024 without realizing. It was a cool mock to build anyway. I think it was was it the V-Wing? No, the Delta, or the Zipper as I called it, from the Snub Fighter set. So it was a really good set to end on anyway, but that probably is going to be the last one of this year. But the reason I was bringing it up is because what I can do in the new year, I'm doing a build stream, so I could also do I guess it'd be a mock building stream. It might overrun the 2 hours. It might go on for quite some time, but as long as I have a rough idea of what I'm trying to build, that'd be a really good process to run through live how I put these mocks together. And rather than, because I am going to make a video on it, but in the video it's going to be me looking back or me looking over a mock and running through what happens. But live, if anything goes wrong, perhaps there's something I've missed out from the video, that would be a really, really good, really good live stream, I think. So my first live stream is going to be a build stream. There's going to be a ton of build streams. If I can save a set, it depends how popular or how much I want to do, how many mocks I want to make with the set, to whether it will be built live here on the channel. I do want to do a ton more build streams. Perhaps we can even do a members only stream once a month, where be it building, breaking down sets, just not even 2 hours, perhaps just for an hour, so I can talk to members, especially if the chat starts getting as busy as my comment section. But I'm definitely going to look at build streams, mock streams, and more building Lego streams, I guess it is. So I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of which, in my, I think it was the members one, I did 2 room tour videos, and I do apologize if it was the members one that I mentioned this about my, I think it was because we saw it on screen. we saw, I mentioned in my original room tour video, just to give a little background on it, that my original red bottle, does anyone remember the red bottle, the red version? Was it red? I'm pretty sure it was red. It might not have been red, but if anyone remembers the red bottle, definitely let me know. And it's, I replaced that because I broke it 3 times over. I broke that, replaced that with a coffee flask. And then I ended up breaking that. Well, the glue come unstuck. I dropped this the other day, and there is now a crack. You're probably not going to be able to see. Oh, you can see it. So you can see that side looks fine. It's all the same glossy color. There's a big crack just there. I wish I could zoom in on a live. I don't think you can zoom in on a live stream, but you see that crack there. I dropped, well, I didn't actually drop it. It was on my desk. It decided to jump. I wasn't touching the desk. It was, I am taking responsibility for the other 4 breaks of cups on this channel. Bearing in mind, we've only been doing Lego for what, a year and a bit? It's been a year, about 14 months we've been doing Lego here on the channel. In 14 months, I have broken cups 4 times, and 1 time the cup breaks itself. So I'm not assuming responsibility for that, but I did have to glue it back together and try and fix it up, because I don't fancy going through another cup here on the channel. I want this to see me through to at the least New Year. I'm gonna have to get one of those like baby beakers or something that I just cannot break and use that just because of how many cups I'm breaking. Chat's popping off. So Dirk asked, do I think Lego is going to make a dropship with or an AT-OT? I think that's UCS potential. I mentioned it recently with the droid carrier that they did for May 4th. That set is UCS potential. We could have a UCS set. Imagine like 10 clones in one set. I think the most we've ever got, probably 4. We must have had a set with more than 4 clones. I know we've got all the droids in the 2 or 3 droid carriers, and a few other sets have come with quite a few droids. But we must have got more than 4 clones in a set. But like 10 clones, we got 2 pilots for the dropship. We've got a pilot for the AT-OT, so that's 3 figures already. We'll need a gunner for the dropship as well. And then like 4 clone troopers. Perhaps we can have, 4 clone troopers, I think. It's basically a battle pack in the back. And then alongside the AT-OT, Lego could release a battle pack, just like they did with the UCS. I don't know why I'm pointing behind me. That's not the UCS version. The UCS minifigures are in it. But just like Lego did with the UCS AT-AT, released that Hoth Trooper battle pack. They only included 3 snow troopers in that and a scout. So I guess they'd probably include 3 clone troopers, probably 3 clone troopers and like 3 battle droids. Something like that as a battle pack actually would be really, really cool, because eventually, well, no, I guess they'd have to include 4 battle droids so that eventually the droids outnumber the clones. But I think there is so much potential for these UCS sets that Lego, it's easy for me to say Lego aren't tapping into, Lego aren't doing anything about it. Obviously, again, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, so Lego might have plans for something like this. But as far as we're aware, as the player, whenever I speak about you as the viewer, I guess we are the player and Lego is the set maker. I don't know, I haven't really thought about that. But I definitely think there's a lot more potential for UCS sets. Seeing something like an MTT, I am so surprised Lego haven't made an MTT yet. That would sell so well. I think that would sell maybe not as good as the Venator, because you did have a load of people buying it for Rex and Yularen, which I think is fair. If you've got the money to spend and you're going to display the Venator, you can buy it for really whatever you want. But there's the base for the Death Trooper attack, I think the set was called. And what I could do, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. But I think there's a lot Lego can do for their UCS sets. There's mainly clones and droids, I will admit. I know they're mainly UCS original trilogy even sets, because I think that is where the biggest UCS fans are. They're at the age where they're definitely for more I mean, I'm an adult, but therefore adults, like the next level adults, the ones that have been working so hard. Now they have a lot of money to splash on things like Lego that they might not have had as a kid. And the UCS sets are like when you'd walk into a Smith's, you'd see the Venator on the shelf, which is like £100 set. We've had the ATTE, the Dropship, the Ghost. These are like 120, £150 sets. They're not that big anymore because everything else is getting so expensive. Lego Star Wars is getting very, very expensive, but their £100 sets are sort of becoming almost the average. I think the average for sets is probably £60 to £90 when you look at some of the big ones and the small ones alike. So an adult getting their hands on this 500, 750 even pound set, which is what the UCS 8080 and the Falcon go for here in the UK, which is even bigger if you convert it to euros, dollars, Canadian, Australian. But the point is, getting your hands on a massive set, there's not really anything like it. There's no alternate to that feeling. So I like the way they're doing their UCS sets. I just think there's more to be got from them. And I'd love to see Lego try and get more from them, honestly. I think they could definitely get quite a bit more from them. Ooh, this will be interesting. Right, I've fallen behind. Let's see what other questions. So, why am I stopping Taylortown? So, Taylortown is a passion project. I understand that because I do a lot of mocks and a lot of other things, it doesn't, it's not really the views, it's more so the engagement on the videos. I know there are people that do like it, so I'm not stopping for good. However, that being said, I'm taking a break from Taylortown because I enjoy doing it every single week on a Wednesday. That's sort of what I do. And over December, I just can't promise that I'll be able to keep up with the videos. And I know for many people, it will be a case of post when I can. I know not many people are as fussed as I am about posting on specific days and trying to get videos out at specific times. But I do enjoy putting them out, like I said, every single Thursday, and I'll do it every single Wednesday. So the reason I'm stopping it for 2024, we're saying goodbye. We might say hello in 2025. I have some big plans still. We've got the sides of them, but it's just the time of how long it takes. And also, I've upgraded Minecraft. We did that on last week's stream. So that's looking really, really good. We did so much last week. And I want to get onto the Harry Potter display. The city's been looking quite good for a couple of months now. Harry Potter is still just sets on a display. If you saw my room tour video, you'll notice I have rearranged a few bits up here so that my ships look a lot better on display. Or at least I think they do, rather than just having them laying flat. Gives me time to upgrade a little bit on the Harry Potter side. As I said, I do want to build a massive Hogwarts. And by massive, I mean Disney castle size, not YouTube massive Hogwarts, because some people are, dedicating whole desk spaces to this. I mean, multiple desk spaces, and there are a few quite good ones out there as well that pop up as I'm scrolling through shorts or something. I'll see the odd glimpse of a Hogwarts, and there are some really impressive builds. But it's goodbye for now rather than goodbye forever, because, as I say, I hope to revisit it at some point, but it's not something I have the luxury of time to continue right now, which is a bit, well, it's not sad. We're not saying goodbye to it, but it is going to be a bit odd waking up on a Wednesday and not having to, completely rearrange my city just to get a video out for the next day. So I think it's going to be a nice break from December. It also allows me to return in the new year with a fresh pair of eyes, and who knows what we'll end up building. Because like I said, I'm unsure about the Star Wars buildings. I feel like because I've not built any giant mocks, I've tried to go to buildings, but whereas I quite like the dioramas and the ships, the smaller mocks, and they are getting bigger with the AV7, the AAT, eventually leading up to the Superstar Destroyer minifigure scale when we hit 100k subs. That's a while off yet, thankfully. But I feel like it's not as city as I want it to be. Having a Star Wars tower, perhaps we have a Tatooine Naboo floors in one block. That might be preferable. But wow, chat's really popping off. Thank you for all your questions and comments. But it's just a little break for now. We've said goodbye to it. Hopefully we'll say hello early on in the new year. But in the meantime, I am going to be working on the Harry Potter display and making something of it. The focus has temporarily shifted over to the other side of the unit, which you can just about see the edge of Hogwarts. And you can probably also see the flying Fort Anglia just here as well, the tail of that. So hopefully we can make something of that like we did Minecraft. It won't be as easy as just one video, one and done. I won't be spending as much time as I do on it on the Lego City. However, probably 3-4 weeks on it. Hopefully we can get something done, and I think it would look really, really cool as a result. Hopefully it looks as good as I think the Minecraft one looks, because I am still so impressed with how well that Minecraft one's turned out. And there will be perhaps a Minecraft diorama, because I am freeing up 5 of these bases. I will, every time I build a diorama, if it's really, really good, I'll try and find space for it. I have no space for these dioramas, but I also, there's some studs in here. I will be probably converting these into smaller dioramas and replacing a few of the other ones over time. I mean, there's none built off sets. Well, we got the Dark Trooper attack. The Dark Trooper attack will probably be one of the only dioramas that stays around. And like I said, I still want to improve this one. So maybe we'll make the improvements today. I mean, we've been going for half an hour, but this is pretty much done. The only thing would be, which is in my favor, honestly, we're getting rid of this little panel with all the electronic bits, which makes it so much easier to brick build. So let's try and get some structure to this, and perhaps we can brick build it sooner than I realized. That goes in there. Anyway, the city, yeah, we say goodbye for now. Perhaps we'll come back to it in the new year. What's my favorite movie? And what is your favorite series? Oh, I haven't watched the original holiday special. I've seen that's the next part to it. I've tried to find it so many times, and I think at some point Disney should just drop it to Disney Plus during a period of low Star Wars, because the amount of people that are going to just subscribe to Disney Plus just to see that holiday special, I've probably seen the worst of it, because those are the clips that are circling on YouTube and other places like that. So we see these dodgy clips of the Grandpa Wookiee, which honestly, maybe it's a good thing the original holiday special can't be found anywhere. There are some questionable things in there. But I do believe the holiday special wasn't directed by Lucas. It was his idea. I don't think it was exactly directed. It wouldn't surprise me, to be fair, with some of the things that fit into the original Star Wars trilogy. My favorite movie, I think it'd have to be one of the Star Wars ones. So I'm going to go Attack of the Clones, because I think everything about it. Revenge of the Sith is the most visually appealing. The Phantom Menace has probably the deepest storyline, because it's the return, of the Sith, not the Revenge of the Sith. That's the third one. And Attack of the Clones continues the story. It almost looks as good as Revenge of the Sith, and it's just got so much world building in it, which is odd to say, but favorite movie would have to be Attack of the Clones. It's the Star Wars movie I've probably watched the most. Between that and Return of the Jedi, because we did have Return of the Jedi on video, on VHS, so it'd be one of those two that I've watched the most. My favorite series, Clone Wars I feel like is a cop-out. So Clone Wars is my favorite series by far. And I quite like animation. We're looking at the Batman series. We're looking at X-Men 97. I've just found a Marvel series called Hitmonkey as well. We got a second series of that this year. So I'm going to be watching that. That would come out a while ago. That's not news to anyone, I don't think. But I completely did not see that. What's a series? I don't think. I've been increasingly enjoying the Marvel series. I think all the shows. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I only watched like the first 2 seasons, so I know some of the big things that happen at the start of that, which again, it feels like it's explaining the little plot holes of the movie. Oh, but my favorite, Ahsoka. Ahsoka is my favorite show. I can't believe I forgot. The way they did Ahsoka was so well, and the way they built it up for a season on not just the father, son, and daughter, but a potential Abalor feature in live action. I think I haven't been as excited for that as sort of Clone Wars season 4. Did 4 end on a cliffhanger? And then you had the depressing season 5, which season 5 is my favorite series from Clone Wars, but my favorite season from Clone Wars. But that was a difficult one. So let's run through these. Hopefully, minifigure scout. Yeah, I like building in minifigure scout, and I try to build some of these builds as well, minifigure scale, which is why you can see the doorways are so wide. You can definitely fit 2 people in a doorway, and stuff like my go to the desk cam, you can see we've got the Fallen Order slash this technically a Jedi Survivor mock, but you can see the door that Cal comes through is quite narrow because they just about fit your character or any stormtroopers in the games. So I had to make it about 3 blocks wide, and I will be carrying that over into the other one, which you can see. You've also got this door here, again 3 blocks wide, and the blast door is basically as thick as those doors are wide. But I like building in minifigure scout because, like I always say when I have a minifigure scout mock, it gives you perspective with the other builds of just how big it is in universe, which I think when you're building in Lego is really, really valuable. And it just helps to see what it looks like as well in universe, which is just cool if not anything else. I hope it be, where are we then? All right, we're only 10 minutes behind in chat, so I'll try and speed it up. It would be nice if there was a Wolfpack version. Oh, that would be. I definitely think in some bigger sets they could give us a few more named clones. I see the problem with it. Lego do want to use not only the figures elsewhere, but also want people to pick up multiple of them. You know, a lot of people are army building, and I think army building definitely early on in Clone Wars sets was single-handedly keeping Lego afloat with some of these Star Wars sets, with how much the license would have cost around the prequels and Clone Wars. It'd be nice to get some more named clones. We've got a handful now. We've got 5. We've got Cody, we've got Fox, we've got Hunter, Wrecker, Crosshair, Echo, Tech, Omega, Boba, Django, Rex. We've also already got Wolfie and clones like that in the older versions of clones. I think they're the newest ones we've got. I don't think we've got any. Vaughn as well in a battle pack. That was a really, really smart. I think we could get an Apo in the same style as that Apo from Revenge of the Sith. Not quite Clone Wars, no arrow on his helmet, but with that shoulder strap. They've got to give clones shoulder straps. There's so many clones that could be used for, and so many of said clones don't have a colored torso. So if they give us a plain one, perhaps a 212. 212 would kind of work for a custom Blythe. They're not going to give us any Star Corps troopers. We've also got a blue one for not just Apo, but a ton of other clones from like the Umbara arc and all that. There are so many named clones that if they give us one printed piece or one accessory we could use, we definitely need a clone accessory as well. Lego are missing out. So many customs are making Karmas and stuff like that. I don't know if Lego just don't see it as a smart business move. I think if Lego dropped an official Lego Karmas and Pauldrons booster pack, sort of like how we got a load of the street lights and road accessories for City, if they did something like that with a few custom molded weapons, they can drop the 2 pistols in there as well, just to take up some space in the bag, and sell it for, well, some of these Karmas are going for like £4 or £5 each. I was going to say sell it for a £5. I'd rather they sell it for sort of polybag price, but they could also sell it for like £10, £15. And so many people would buy it. I'd rather than sell it for like a fiver. Let's make it affordable here, but that would be would be nice. A Lego to not just Lego to capitalize on stuff like pauldrons and karmas, but for Lego to make it accessible to a lot more people. Like over here in the UK, I think there is a site where you can get Clone Army Customs and Grandpa Clone Customs, but most of it just relies on trying to pick it up through other people that are reselling them over in the States mostly. So it would be nice for Lego to do something like that. Oh, Dirk said, oh, there was a comment about becoming a Lego set designer, and I just want to weave in if any of you have seen the set design, the 2024 designer exclusive set, which is this medieval castle. It comes with so many different minifigures. I mean, the images are out there. A load of people have been sharing them. I don't think they can't share them. I'm pretty sure they're allowed to share them. So hopefully I'm not getting anyone in trouble from this. However, I think it does look pretty cool with all the... It comes with... I'm pretty sure it comes with a knight... Oh, I'm really testing my knowledge here. It comes with a knight, it comes with a wizard, it comes with probably like some sort of bat lord or something. But there's like 4 minifigures and a few different other characters in it, and it does look really, really cool. Yeah, I forget how many... Well, I forget the exact amount of minifigures and who they are. But yeah, the designer exclusive set is reason enough to become a designer, honestly, for Lego. But the process, as I've heard, is just quite tedious. I haven't looked into becoming a designer for Lego. I suppose it's not exactly something that I've ever thought about doing, to be fair, but I prefer... The reason I prefer making mocks to designing sets for someone like Lego is because this gives me full creative control, and yeah, I can honestly do within reason. Obviously, if no one likes it, then I'm probably not going to do it again, but I can do whatever I want with whatever I want. There's no limitation of trying to meet a price point or trying to meet any other sales, or you know, it's a lot more freedom doing it. But definitely, if you ever become a Lego set designer, I would love to see a dropship an ATOT set. That would be... I mean, UCS would be cool, but even just a play set, if they sell 2 of them side by side or in a double pack, I mean, that's a double-sized double pack compared to the ones we've been seeing. But yeah, that is definitely something. Finished Clone Wars last Friday. Oh, I am dropping behind. All right, let's read some of these. So finished Clone Wars last Friday. That's a journey. Finishing Clone Wars as well, because Clone Wars, there are so many episodes. Once you finished it, it's sort of like a... what now? So much time goes into... I've rewatched Clone Wars 3 times over lockdown in like the first year or so. And when you finish it, it's sort of like, what do you do now? You've spent so long following these clones, and then the war... I feel like the war comes to such an abrupt end. There's got to be some clone series that follows after. You can go on to Bad Batch, which transitions into Rebels, and then even then, when you jump from Rebels to somewhere like A New Hope, there's still, like, you've built up to the fight, but there still feels like there's such... because A New Hope is Endgame. A New Hope is more Infinity War. A New Hope is the start. It sort of builds up, you get introduced to these characters. Empire Strikes Back is Infinity War. Return of the Jedi is Endgame. But all 3 of them happen very quickly. There's like 6 years, whereas we've got 20 years, 19 years between Revenge of the Sith. Bad Batch happens. There's a bit of a time jump, but we'll say Bad Batch is 5 years. Rebels is another 5 years. And then there's this decade jump. But Clone Wars, I will never stop watching Clone Wars. The last 4 episodes, like, it just... they go from... you know, freeing Mandalore. Did they free them? There would definitely have been some sort of Mandalore... well, there was the Night of 1,000 Tears, as we find out in Mandalorian, but there was definitely going to be... if the war didn't end, there would be uproar on Mandalore. they'd be fighting against the Republic, because you know the Republic aren't just going to up and leave like Ahsoka would want. They'd try and then not assert their dominance like the Empire did, but they'd definitely try and stick around and wear out their welcome very, very quickly. So the last 4 episodes, it's almost like it's almost like a emergency stop in a car, where you just slam on your brakes, it comes to a halt, and then suddenly Maul goes one way, Ahsoka goes the other way, and the car is just a burning mess. That's what I think of the last 4 episodes. I can't believe... Oh, Juicy Cheese, can't believe I haven't got the UCS 8080. I was so heavily... I had it penned in. I think I was going to get it this year, but then decided to get like the Ghost and a few of the other ships. So I was going to get it either Christmas next year, until I realized that I basically have... Well, I say I basically haven't undecorated my Halloween 8080. I will definitely be switching that up soon. But I basically have all the minifigures. The only thing I'm actually missing is the official torso for one of the snowtroopers. I just stuck a sticker on one of my existing troopers, because I'm really not fussed about little exclusive pieces, and I think £750 is a lot of money for one torso. I already had the Veers with the dual molded legs and some of the other characters as well, and I think that's the pure only reason I didn't pick up the UCS set, because I just felt like I already had it in that playset, and I have shrunk the legs so it's even smaller than the original playset was. But I do feel like I already own enough, I think, of the UCS of I already own enough of the UCS 8080. I didn't feel the need to spend that much money. I feel like next time they release it at 8080, I can buy that and turn that into an 80TT. Can Dirk, the unknown guy, get a shout out? And they'd like to make some shorts once a week. That is so, for anyone making any style of content, not any style of content, but most style of content, if you can stick to a schedule, that is really going to help from a analytics point of view. So check out that unknown guy on YouTube. It'll be in the chat. If you're watching this, I think by the time YouTube actually have this up as a video, the live chat should be there anyway. So go check out their shorts, and good luck with making the shorts, because yeah, it's sometimes it gets a lot, but honestly, it is very worth it in the end. As someone who's been making daily videos for, I think I checked the other day, I think it's like 850 days or something like that we are going on with, not daily videos, but with, because originally I only did Monday to Friday and then I'd have the weekends off. Didn't really work because I needed to record a video for the Monday, and a lot of times it weren't ready by Friday, but it definitely helped with the breaks on the weekends. But I think it's like 800, we're almost 1,000 days in, which is crazy to think. So I mean, we are 800 odd days in, and we've got almost 4,000 subs. I started the year on, I think we just hit 500 in December, Christmas 20th, December the 20th, we just hit 500 subs, and we're a year later, 3,000 subs richer, and having a lot more fun than last year. I wouldn't say it's because of like subscribers, views, or any of that, but just the content that I'm making. All the mocks that I'm building now basically are so much fun, because I'm not just limiting myself to the odd battle pack, and we're starting to look at some bigger mocks. All right, UCS AAT, sure, some Master Builder set the Juicy Cheese would like to see, would think is cool. Next year is Utapau. I want to, I know I kind of chickened out of Christophsis, not chickened out, but we did end up building Christophsis. I don't know how I feel about bigger mocks, but I definitely want to make an Utapau diorama. I think dioramas are cool because, I mean, someone else, Coconut Brick Studios. So the next question is, what do I think of Coconut Brick Studios? I don't watch a lot of their videos, but I do see a lot of their mocks, especially towards the end. And actually, I really like watching the oh, what's it called? The little bunker videos where they do the little trenches, that's the word, where they do the trenches that go through and like behind enemy lines or something like that. I think the trenches is an amazing idea. Haven't seen anyone else do that, so props if someone else is doing that, but that is a really good idea. But I think those sort of mocks are just not for me in terms of, it's a lot and you have to sacrifice some detail. Coconut Bricks has found a really cool balance between detail and size, but there is some detail still that's sacrificed just because of how big you're building. You cannot afford, unless you're doing a big project like Brixie's Lego City, for instance, gradually the detail builds up. He'll start with like a rock panel on the massive mountain he's building, and then he'll add a bit more detail, and then perhaps if he revisits that at some point, he'll add even more detail. But you do have to either work on it for a really long time, which we've got our city, we've got Minecraft, we're soon gonna start up Harry Potter. I feel like I've got enough big projects to not have to take on a Star Wars one. There are so many people that are building massive Star Wars mocks. They've sort of taken it out of my hands, and I'm very grateful to everyone that is building a massive Star Wars mock. I'm going to stick to my 16 by 24 Star Wars diorama base plates because I think it's much easier to, I mean, some of these aren't really that detailed. We did experiment with Mouldie, try to use plates on the side rather than building up brick walls, which I think has some potential. But even this one isn't too well detailed. There's definitely more I could have done. But even just the little pipes and stuff, I would much rather go into detail than have something massive. That might change at some point, and you can definitely come back to this stream and quote me. But I think I'm going to stick with, or even dioramas. I'm now downsizing to these little sizes. I'm having a little trouble, mind you, trying to get this built in sort of compacted down to this size, mainly at the top, because I didn't realize how few plates. I'm pretty sure in saying all these plates are taken from the original set, which is really, really nice. So definitely that won't last long at all because I've got to, or I want to mix and match a little bit, I guess, with it, and try to just shrink it with the parts that I've got. But I'm starting to realize now that I perhaps should have left a few more 2x bricks about. Oh no, we got it. Oh, we'll come to that later. Anyway, getting ahead of myself here. What do I think of? Oh yeah, we answered that. The Master Builder set, sorry. Let's loop back to that. Utapau, get some floors, a bit of the chase scene, definitely the hello there scene. There is so many different prequel memes that Lego are slowly giving us. I'm not sure if you've noticed. We got last year, I think it was, or earlier this year, we got the visible confusion face, which was really, really nice to see. And we're slowly getting a few more memes and stuff like that. So it's really nice to see from Lego. Again, there are just so many that they need to, well, not they need to, but they could give us in Lego sets. It would be really nice. See you, Dirk, the unknown guy, has left the building. So definitely check them out. Check out their shorts. I mean, you might as well subscribe at this point. If you end up not liking it, you can always unsubscribe. But, you know, go over, subscribe, drop a like to show your support. And good luck with your shorts. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Juicy Cheese just realized 20 minutes ago that I had a ponytail. And yeah, I have been growing my hair out quite a bit. Not quite like the Qui-Gon minifigure that we almost decapitated for a hairpiece. But there's something about long hair that I used to have. I used to have very long hair, like long, maybe not this long, but pretty long hair growing up. And it's just nothing for it, nothing against it. I think it's easier to deal with, personally. Well, I don't know if it's easier, but it's easier for me. It's nicer. I would rather wash my hair than keep cutting it, if that makes sense. But yes, I do indeed. My minifigure, actually, where, there it is. My minifigure has the same hair as the Clone Wars Padme, and it's one of, oh, this isn't going to be right. I think it's one of two. It might be one of three characters that has this hairpiece. We've got Will Turner, which is slightly darker brown, and then we also have Clone Wars Padme in this color. So that's a fun fact. It does look a bit neater than the end of mine, but eventually it won't look too much different. I actually have that hairpiece on my brand new Clone Wars Padme as well, because when she was in the gunship, Lego gave her I think it was a bun, which she doesn't have in the scene. I'm not quite sure she has just a simple ponytail. There might be a bit more to it, but it's the closest hairpiece that I've seen for her in Lego, I think, at all. I don't think there's a better hairpiece to represent it. So we are up to date with the chat. We got one more. Juicy Cheese. It's crazy how iconic the ATT is for the Separatists, and we haven't gotten it at all. We need a UCS ATT. To be fair, we could do with just another Pay Scout ATT. We got the one with Ahsoka that was a few years ago, but I definitely think we're overdue well, not overdue. Lego don't owe us anything, but I would really like to see a Play Scout AAT. And I think there's a few sets that now we've seen the Yoda one, and I believe Lego have come out to some extent. I don't know if it's the set designer. It's someone has said that they just wanted to get Yoda in a set, and it was meant to be another ship, but they just couldn't do it in time. But now we've seen Yoda's Starfighter come back out. There are so many other sets from that era of Lego Star Wars that we definitely need to see again in Lego Star Wars. We need to see him come back, because that could be really, really interesting. And like I said, there's just so many sets that Lego make. There's really almost no limit to what Lego can do with them. So it'll be really interesting to see what 2025 holds, because at the minute, based on the rumors, which, you know, we can touch a little bit on the rumors. Hopefully Lego's not watching. But based on the rumors, we've got a lot of, for January, for May, a lot of 18 plus sets and display over play sets, which Star Wars as a Lego theme eventually, I'm sure, will go heavy into the display sets over play sets. And Juicy Cheese has long hair, hasn't cut it in 2 years, it reaches down to the very top of their neck, and also put it in a ponytail. Hey, we got someone else with a ponytail. So I wonder if the hairpiece would work for you as well. The only annoying bits are the side for me, because I've been growing this out. Well, I have it trimmed every so often, just neatened up, but I don't think I have for quite a few months now, actually. So I've been growing mine out. Over lockdown, I had a few different hairstyles, but I went completely like buzz cut all over. And pretty much since then, I've just been growing it out and having it trimmed a little bit to neaten it up every so often. But pretty much since then, as far as I can remember, it's just been growing and growing and not knowing where it'll stop, pretty much. But yeah, in terms of 2025, we've got the Lego Star Wars logo. Could be interesting if they release that. We've got, I think there's another helmet coming out. They've got, I can't remember, there was another one, I think around May time, that was sort of a new style of display sets. But I've just realized I might as well, there we go, open the desk cam just so you can see another diorama. Fill that space with another diorama. But we've got a few display sets, and what's really piqued my interest is the lack of play sets. Sorry, we've got a load of display sets, not many play sets. And our first diorama, well, I'll put the figures back in a second, but our first diorama is done. We've got a space for Luke in the elevator, and then we can line up our Dark Troopers. The blasters are just so big. I think for the sake of it, I'm going to be removing the binoculars, which not only allows me to fit more Dark Troopers in here, but also gives me a few binoculars that I don't have in my personal collection. I'm not sure if we'll be able to fit 6 Dark Troopers in here. Do they have blasters? are they all carrying blasters, or are they carrying? I have to look at that if they're carrying blasters or if they're using like wrist rockets of some sort, because I can't honestly say I remember blasters in the scene, but I can't say I was looking out for blasters either. But yeah, next year Star Wars is going to be interesting to say the least. I think for we'll have to do for this mini diorama, we've got a little squad firing on Luke, and let's replace Cal. Maybe Cal can be the next one we do. That's one of the most recent ones we've built. But there we go. Not very good lighting, but you can kind of make out what that's meant to be. So we'll start piling these up on the desk cam. But we do have 2 playsets in January, which I'll talk about in a sec. Because they do look really interesting. Right. Wait for this, because I've built this on its side. Maybe we can take off the walls first. So with this, I didn't show it off. Sorry, Rick. I didn't show it off in the video. I'm not quite sure why I didn't show it off in the video, actually, because I do think this is really, really cool. But the whole thing is being held on mostly with like 8 studs. 12 studs, not 8 studs. But because I've built the base on its side, there's just a few snot bricks. We've got 3 support snot bricks up the side, and then we've also got a row of studs on the bottom, and that is it holding it up, because this has been built completely on its side. So as you can see, we've got a stack of 1x with some 2x bricks, and that has been laid down as the base. I think the floor looks so much smoother than if I was to, well, it's probably about the same as if I was to tile it up. I guess a few less tiles. I'll have to put that together later. But I just think it looks, I did this with a Tantive, and I haven't done it with any other builds so far. I don't think I'll be able to carry this across to the plate, but it's a really cool, it's used up all my grey bricks, as you can see, some 2x as well, but it was really, really cool at the time. And that just slots in, which way? I don't think it matters, but that just slots, oh no, it was the one that I broke apart. So this is going to stick out a little bit, but it just slots into the base there and gives it a really, really nice finish. All right, let's not try and break this apart too much now. Perhaps there was a good reason that, right, I'll whack that in the pile and all. Good reason that it broke apart upon first contact. Well, hold on, this brick's not meant to be there. It's a part of the base. But for anyone that has joined, I've just seen the viewers spike. We are answering questions and building some smaller dioramas, which so far is going quite well. I've got 2 Dark Troopers now to add to my minifigure display. We'll deal with that later. I don't think I can try and do that now. But the interesting part with this, I guess we've got a load of extra parts from the previous dioramas that we can use going forward. The interesting part is going to be getting these side bits off and putting them on, because as you can see, the door just sticks out over the base. So we're going to have to shrink it together a little bit. And what I might do is just remove 1 2x brick from each side, and that will also allow us to keep the blast door as it is. So that's going to be really, really cool. The blast door itself is just clipped on with some snot bricks at the bottom. Some interesting designs have been used here, I will admit. So 1 2 3 4 5. Maybe we can turn 5 into a 4, and that gives us enough space for the door, and it rhymes, which is always fun. So I'm not sure how we're going to get the slopes. I might have to steal a few slope bricks, but that is the fun of it. We will find out as we go along. Oh. So we've got, as far as streams go as well, I will touch on that, even though we've got we've got 1 more stream this year. Next week, I don't think I actually have anything to build. We'll probably be looking mostly on the computer at actual Black Friday deals, because they've already started this week. And there's it's Brick Bargains. I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel now, but there is a channel out there that if you do want to know about deals as they come out, they're on top of the game, and they are covering everything. Let's have a look. Brick bargains. It is brick bargains. If you want to know about deals as they come out before next week, check out Brick Bargains, because I mean they've posted 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, basically daily videos with all the different deals coming out, and it will be like an hour after that deal has come out. So chances are it's still live and you can still get your discounts. And it's actually where I saw about the whole game Dark Falcon for 80 quid. But there is a problem with the game and the Fraser Group and all that in general about not delivering on their purchases, which is an upset, because as soon as you hit purchase, you expect to be getting whatever Lego you've ordered and for it to be arriving. But sometimes it's not the case, which is a little upsetting to see. However, it is what it is, and hopefully those people have been able to. I feel like there should be some extra like discount or something put out, but I'm not quite sure why the error is occurring in the first place. So I guess that's down for game to deal with, but it would be nice to see something like that, because you don't really get too many big deals. Last year I noticed I mean, Black Friday isn't here, so some of these might shoot up when Black Friday is here. So we will be looking at them next week. I feel like that's the closest we'll see any big deals being at least announced, if not already on the shelf. But for Black Friday deals and that, we will be taking a look at your average sites. We're looking at Smiths. Argos doesn't tend to be too good, but they were around May. So perhaps there'll be a few good ones sneaking through next week. So far, I don't think there's been anything special, but like I say, we never know. Next week, perhaps something will jump out. And one, two, one by ones. But next week, well, that's for our final stream. We will be taking a look at Black Friday deals, at December releases, at 2025 sets, because at the minute they're rumored. Actually, I wonder when they're going to announce the Lego Star Wars sets, because we're meant to be getting quite a few in January, but so far we've had nothing from Lego, which I think I never remember when Lego announced stuff like Star Wars sets, but I do think it's quite odd that there hasn't been anything yet, because we've not got a long time until the January sets are out on shelves. And you know, if we're looking at them on shelves, or if usually someone does leak them before the Star Wars sets go on lego.com. Hopefully that's not the case with the January ones as well, because I feel like there could be some big releases in that. 2 play sets that are rumored at the minute, which we will talk more depth into next week. Hopefully we'll have images to look at next week. That's really what I'm hoping for. But are an Ahsoka Eta 2 Starfighter, I think, as well as an Arc 170. I believe that's the current rumors. Obviously that's subject to change, and who knows what we'll end up getting in, well, like 6 weeks, is it, until the January 1st releases? So I am quite excited. I don't think I'll be picking up any of them, because this year I picked up in March, or whenever the tentative boarding dropped, I picked up that set, the tentative boarding, and it reduced very, very quickly. I've noticed Star Wars might be getting expensive already. All the sets that come out in September, you can get them like 20-30% off in most stores here in the UK. Well, that is if they're in stock, which I'm still yet to find the Shin Hati versus E-Wing in stock really anywhere. I think it came in stock Amazon the other day, and they bumped it straight up to full price because they know it's been on a sale. So I don't know if they do sell out, or if they, once they're sold out at so many locations, they then reduce them at the rest, because I feel like the latter is probably more likely. But with the January sets, if there are any Lego Star Wars sets, chances are I will probably be leaving them for May, or at least some Easter sales or something like that, because we get so many sets around May. All of the previous sets go on sale, and I'd rather look at some of the cheaper sets. We're looking at, so far we've had Yoshi's Bike, which has been released for Mario. That's a pretty pricey set. It's like 12-13 quid, but it's on the cheaper end of things, so I'll probably be picking that up, even though it is in my opinion, a little bit pricey. We've also got the Celeste from Animal Crossing. That's like a £9 set. We've got, I think we'll probably be getting a Minecraft fairly cheap set, which would be nice to see. As well as, I don't really know what other themes there are. There's probably something cheap in City. Marvel tend to, but we got Spider-Man last year. What did we get the year before? I don't remember if we got any cheap sets. It's sort of hit and miss if there is one with Marvel. So it'll be interesting to see if Marvel do have anything that is in the fairly cheap range. I know a lot of these sets, like I said with the Mario one, aren't cheap at all. There's no way £13 for a Lego set is considered cheap when it's just a bike, but there's a few little accessories I really do want to pick up. And these sort of sets, the 13 odd pound sets, are the ones that they might go on sale 20% off. 20% off a £13 set is probably about £2, £2.50. So the sale isn't going to be as big as something like a £90. I can't remember the prices for the sets, but let's say £90 Arc 170. If that goes 2% off, wait, that's not right. 20% off, then that's like £20 almost off, which is almost two of these cheaper sets. So I'll definitely be keeping my eyes out for those over, you know, the brand new Star Wars releases. But that being said, I do want to have a Star Wars set to build in the very first stream. I've been tackling a lot of themes recently, even ones that, well, new themes like Nightmare Before Christmas, Wicked, Wednesday. We're about to tackle something that hasn't got its own Lego theme, which you'll be seeing a lot more of in the next upcoming weeks, But it'll be interesting to see what Lego Star Wars brings. Hopefully we'll have more information on it next week. We just got to wait and find out, because honestly, I have no idea. You have no idea. Does Lego have any idea at this point? I hope so. I hope Lego knows what they're doing, but I would like to see them soon. Chances are, actually, I don't think I've checked the Lego site, so I hope we don't have some Lego Star Wars sets coming out, or having already come out on lego.com. Let's have a little look. Lego.com. I think there were 32 before. That's a little game I play whenever I check the Lego site. There's a new page where you can check all the new Lego releases, and I try and remember the number that I saw last time, so I don't know if there's any new sets. Still on 32. Hopefully that is right. We got the Yoshi bike, pretty cheap set. Celeste is £9. Let's see if there's any other cheap sets that have been announced. There's, of course, like brickheads and little bits like that. I think that's it for the minute, but I'm hoping to see a few more £9 sets, because at the start of this year I bought, I think, 5 £9 sets, something like that, or 5 sets less than a tenner. And of course we're probably going to have a CMF line. Well, we've got images of the CMF line. I've talked about it in Discord. We've got a CMF line as well, which I'll definitely add one to the basket. I want to pick them up in person so that I can get a full wave again. 10 minutes down and we've got a door. But yeah, I'll definitely be picking up a few of them at some point. And that way around. What? Oh, that's not right. But what I'm really interested in is the other cheap sets, because Lego is an expensive hobby, and there's no denying that. Lego is getting very, very expensive recently. But getting these £9 sets is a nice way to almost convince myself that it's not that expensive, which of course we all know Lego is very, very expensive. But if we can get some of these cheaper sets for me to review, it's a nice way of reassuring not all the sets are expensive. There are some sets that are a lot more affordable than others. Lego sets are expensive, but some are less expensive than others. There's a nice, I think it's Animal Farm reference for anyone that has read that in school or otherwise. I think there's a quote, all animals are equal, but some are less equal than others. All Lego's expensive, but some are less expensive than others, which cannot be truer about anything else than Lego, because if I had £1 for every time I bought a Lego set, I would still have nothing, because I'd have spent it on a Lego set. Hopefully we get images soon. It's taking its time for Lego to give us any looks into these sets, honestly. I'm surprised they haven't at least. Well, I'm surprised something hasn't been leaked as well, because we tend to have a lot of leaks for these sets, and as far as I'm aware, there's no images circulating on the interwebs. They've managed to get away with it this time, which, you know, props to them, but at the same point, I want to see the Lego sets. Hopefully we see some soon. I feel like I've been talking. I talk a lot in these streams. Obviously, it's my stream. I'm going to talk, but I feel like we should have some music on in the background. I don't fancy getting copyright strikes, so I'm not going to put any on. I just feel like music is nice to have on in the background, and if anyone wants to write an album I can put on in, just loop it in the background and not get striked for, definitely let me know. I think with Lego gets expensive, but I think the reason is more so because of how many people are buying. Rather than making more, Lego up their prices, which is a way to deal with, you know, ever growing sets in popularity, but whether it's the right way or not, I cannot be convinced it is, I don't think. Anyway, with this, what I'm trying to do is I'm basically rebuilding this diorama to fit in this little bit on the close up. So what I am doing with this diorama is rebuilding it to fit with the Scout, and I'm having to change, that's on the later part, having to change quite a bit. I'm trying to rework the doors so that they're exactly 4 bricks wide rather than, you know, roughly 4 bricks and they don't meet at the top. So what I've done is built this doorway as one, and that allows me to have a nice smooth flat off side on the front that's going to be shown most of all, really. Let's try and get, I'm hoping this doesn't ruin the camera angle. There we go. So what I'm doing is shrinking down the doors, and then what I'm going to do for this door here, hopefully that's the right size, it might be kind of close, is get 2 of these on either side. So we'll have, what do we need, a 1x2. We'll have another snot brick on this right hand side, and basically just repeat what I've done on this half, but I'm going to need 2 1x1 tiles. So what we're going to do, we need 2 of these, and this will work for any sort of Imperial doors, I hope. So if you are trying to build an Imperial mock, feel free to adopt this into yours. I don't own this design. I'm sure many other people have used this as well, but I've got this 1x8 with 2 of these grill tiles. I really like these grill tiles. Yeah, these grill tiles on different things like Falcon mocks. And I was at some point building my own UCS Falcon. Haven't really worked on that for a while. But then on that double stud side, so you want 1 stud on one side, 2 on another. We're going to add this 1x2 slope. That is the wrong color. And then just add a tile on the top of it. And we will be duplicating that if I can find another slope. And I might have to go grab, well, we'll pinch one from here for now. I'll grab it in a second. And another 1x8. I've used so many of these 1x10 pieces, but I don't think I've got another 1x8 in either of these sets. So slope and a 1x8. 1x8. And we'll grab a few slopes in case we need. And then what we can do is meet them up at the top. Sometimes you don't need a brick separator to get your 1x8. You can awkwardly use a 1x2 slope. Again, if there's anyone jumping in, definitely definitely let me know any questions or that you have. Just seen a comment from my fiance, the moderator. You can have your old intro music on loop in the background. That's a fair idea. I think it'd get a little repetitive after some time, but it'd definitely be fun for anyone jumping in and just hearing that. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. dun, 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 just on loop. It never hits that final note, and it's just constantly just that would be that'd be quite funny for my. I do have an extra stream if I need to go and do any. But I don't feel like I'll ever be using it. It also cuts out like the mic, so I just need that audio in there that I think would be really, really nice. But as you can see, we've got, oh, let me switch to the proper camera angle. This should really be the main camera because you get so much better look at the desk. But you can see we've got the door here. We've even got a little bit of detailing on the door with that round 2x2. So I'm really liking the way that is looking. Let's add the detail in, which should keep the door held, and we've got enough space for a tile on top of that. So it would be nice to try and link a few of these. So I'm going to add the 1x8 here, and the reason I'm adding the 1x8 is because this corner brick here is a corner brick. It is one of those 2x2 with the corner cut out. So because I've connected a 1x8 on top of there, and then I can connect a probably another 1x8 on this side here, and that will hold the doors more so in place, especially at the top bit here where they've got a bit of freedom to move and can roll around just a little bit. But I think I'm done with the one. It's always handy to have the 1x. 1x tiles, 1x plates, and 1x anything else really is really handy to have, because we'll keep this camera for a bit, because you never know when you're going to need some 1x anything. And I think that goes for that goes for a lot of things, just generally mock building or Lego sets. Sometimes in a Lego set they will leave out a stud here and there and just expect it to balance or make sense, especially in mock building. Actually, I've left quite a few 1x stud gaps in my builds, and it's always handy to have just that spare 1x at hand in case you ever need it. Oh, I need a brick there. Wait, that's a 1x6. I don't have a 1x6. I have two 1x3s, but I think they're going to be more valuable too. So let me flip back to the camera. This is quite an important step in mock building. If I don't mention this ever again, remember it from this stream. So when you're building, if you have something like two 1x3s next to each other and you're not building a wall, so don't need the outlines of the bricks, definitely try and switch it for a 1x6 brick, because, and the reason you'd want to use a 1x6 brick rather than two 1x3s is those 1x3s might be useful down the line. You might have a space later on. In this mock, I might have a space. Literally the next brick I need is a 1x3. So I might need that 1x3 later, and it's easy to use to turn two 1x3s into a 1x6, but turning a 1x6 into two 1x3s is not easy. It's not pretty. I mean, I could 3D print a brick if I wanted to. I'm trying not to 3D print everything here because it can get addictive real quickly. However, I think it's just easier to go with bigger bricks where you can. So you've got the smaller bricks for later on. I tend to, you probably notice when I build mocks, have a lot of small bricks left over, and I'm just piling up some 1x2s at the top of the walls because I've used all the big bricks, which you should probably save some of the big bricks. But at the same point, there we go. The 1x3, the 1x3 fits nicely there, and then we can have a 1x4 snot brick, which will fit the blast door, which I can't remember how exactly I put this down, because this seemed, oh no, it was on the snot brick, yes. It's been some time since I built this, but I'm hoping I remember it. I don't really know if I like how that goes up. Anyway, we can fiddle around with that once we've got the floor in. This is basically en route to being finished already, which is really, really nice to see with how long we spent on the first one. I've done this upside down. And that will go that way round, right next to the door, which is where the details are in the game. And we could, I think, because I am in the interest of saving bricks and trying to use as few parts as possible, I might not tile up behind the blast door. I might just leave it as so. Maybe we can add some taller bricks just to secure it. I don't think I've got another snot brick. I'm not sure if I can, but hopefully, I suppose it has to be that way round to secure the thing. This is the interesting part with the snot brick. Hello there, Captain Rex. Conk. Oh, I was thinking of it wasn't Gonks, but there was some Astromech. There was an Astromech battle pack, or was it the Jawa? Oh, there was a Jawa one with an Astromech, 2 Jawas, maybe 2 Astromechs. And I was wondering about Lego releasing an official, Gonk battle pack, which would be really, really cool for something like May 4th. Lego just release as a fun little set. I think it would sell so well. Somewhere that there's a gift with purchase. Some people need that extra couple of quid to make it. I think a Gonk battle pack, that's high on my list. That is that is now high on my list. I enjoy working with all the Gonks, and I guess they could probably, like I've done with the theming them around characters, they could probably recreate some really iconic scenes using Gonks and make, like, I guess we can have for battle packs. I tend to think of 4 characters. We've got Obi-Wan, Maul, and Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace. We've got Dooku, Kenobi, Anakin, and Yoda from Attack of the Clones, which, if you missed it earlier on, my favorite movie, Attack of the Clones. Oh, that'd be, it's Revenge of the Sith's birthday, I guess, next year. So perhaps something more Revenge of the Sith themed would work. But at the same time, I'm really liking the idea of an Attack of the Clones Gonk battle droid. All right, we've got... It's not as flush at the bottom as I would like, but I think that is going to hold up. And then, do we have any big bricks? I do want to try and connect with some snot bricks at the top. The wall's actually too big, which might explain it's a plate too big. So we'd probably be able just to reduce that on top, maybe with another 4x4 if I've got one. I don't think I do, but if I do, it would come in really handy here. So we need a 1x3 dark bluish grey tile. But yes, a Gonk battle pack would be really, really cool. I do know you like your Gonks, Captain Rex, which actually, speaking of buildable Gonk, we got an electric one a few years ago, however long, that was probably a while ago, but a proper R2 size buildable Gonk I think would sell so well, because you're bringing in prequel fans, original trilogy, sequel, and not as many people as something like R2, or probably around the same number that a buildable chopper would bring in. So if we ever see a buildable chopper from Lego, I also want to see a buildable Gonk would be really, really cool. Especially to see it like from Lego, not just something built up with a few bricks that they send out for May 4th, which I think they did a Gonk puzzle at some point. That'd be really cool to review here on the channel, but a proper buildable Gonk, I guess it would be a perfect way to introduce battery packs, and as Gonks are literally battery packs, so it'd be a perfect way to introduce stuff like that into a buildable character and have some play features in it, which would be really nice to see. Ooh. I'm not sure I like the design of the blast door, just how the red plate is coming up. I feel like it does need to be, maybe it's just the angle of it. I just need to angle it. Yeah, that's actually looking quite nice with the angle of it. Maybe that's all it needs. All right, let me have a look if I've got a 1x4 plate. We'll move the ATTE out of the way. I promise at some point I will undecorate it for Halloween. I do want to do something for Thanksgiving, which is coming up. So keep your eye out for that. And then hopefully that will segue quite nicely into a nice Christmas design. We've got a seasonal 8080. Who needs a Christmas tree when you've got, well, we need a Christmas tree, but who needs a treat when you've got an 8080? And look at that, that's the perfect piece we need. It's not fully tiled off on top. I don't know if Lego make a 4x4 tile in dark bluish grey. Maybe that's something that I will have to find. I'll do it myself with my 3D printer. But I think that's looking quite nicely. There's still a little gap on top. We could always bracket it, but I think that's good. So we've got our second one done. Let's add, I will be tiling this off afterwards. I'm not quite sure what tiles I've got, so rather than spending some time tiling this off, we'll add our Cal Kestis, our BD1, and our Rick the Door Technician to this display. Rick wants to be careful with the blast doors here, it's just in case he does get caught. But there we go, we've got two mini dioramas built, and now we're on to the third. I'm not sure about Mouldie. Mouldie is going to be, well, hopefully Mouldie is straightforward. Let's take a look. So Mouldie is, let me show this off first. From the Clone Wars, we've got the scene with all the clone troopers. I actually got a comment recently asking why there's a purple hand in it. The comment wasn't asking why there's a purple hand, but there's just a purple minifigure hand in here. But I had a comment asking recently why there is a 212 Coruscant Guard Trooper in here. And we see quite a few of them just here. This, switch it on there. There you go. You can see the 212 clear as day on the desk cam. And there's actually a few of them in the scenes aboard the, I guess they were en route to Coruscant, but they weren't originally en route to Coruscant. So why is there a Coruscant on 95th Legion Trooper aboard a Venator all the way out at Mandalore? It doesn't really make much sense unless the Venator came from Coruscant to pick up Maul. But I feel like there was already a Venator there. Everything that goes on at Coruscant, I'm sure whilst Palpatine was dueling with Yoda, he wasn't sending out a Venator to Maul and Ahsoka. So I am a bit confused as to why there is a 95th Legion here. It's just very odd. But to loop back to the, hopefully this is a quick one, loop back to the battle pack, I've just thought, what if rather than a battle pack, Lego make like a May 4th make and take? I don't have any of them built. Last year we got Vader, Leia, Yoda. Previously we've got Luke, Kenobi, Han, Chewie. What if Lego did something like that but gonks? So they did slightly bigger than I have done, perhaps not minifigure scale as much. They did like a Luke gonk, they did a Vader gonk. I think that would go down really, really well, especially because they've done the main original trilogy characters. But what about them in gonk form? That we might be onto something there. That might be, if there is a gonk make and take in the next 5 or 10 years, just know me and Captain Rex thought of it first. We thought of it first here. Lego must have seen this stream at some point. Lego must have been one of the 15 people that have chimed in so far, or seen this on demand, and they've nabbed our idea. But they can have it. I would love to see an official gonk character build as part of some May 4th make and take. I think it'd be really cool. And also, make and takes in general, I've noticed we're seeing a few more of as well. But Lego should make Star Wars Advent Calendar that has all minifigures of gonks. So we get 20. You know what? We get 24. I've built 9, 10, 11 character gonks. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 official Lego gonks. And I'm sure we'll get that at some point soon. But that'd be a really good idea. If Lego don't, Lego have made 15 official gonks so far, and I guess it would be really expensive to get my hands on the first 2 and the 4th one. That could be a good idea if I do some sort of promo and make my own advert, even with just the characters. That's a really good idea. I'm going to look into that for next year. But we've got 11 from the prequels. If I do, well, we've got 9. If we do 3 from each movie, we've got 9 from the prequels, 9 from the original trilogy, which adds up to 18. and then that gives us 6 for the sequels as well. And then have like each of them come with a part of the display that will clip together, like the Mud Trooper Han, like the Rogue One droid, the Kessel Mine Worker. They used to have the Technic bases. I think there was only like 3 or 4 of them. The Rogue One Scarif Trooper as well. There must have only been 4 of them that clip together. Each of them come with that, and then you've just got this row of 24 gonks. That is a really good idea. But I'm definitely going to keep up with the Attack of the Clones battle pack, because that'll be really cool, just to create this little mock of these gonks just dueling. And I actually want to revisit. There's a set. So as far as duels go, we have Kenobi and like the Mustafar duel, the Star Killer duel. This is Lego sets. And there is the duel on Peridia, which is the new Ahsoka set. The only duel that I don't own beside the Ahsoka one, I'm looking at picking up the Ahsoka one in some sort of sale. I've got my eyes peeled for Black Friday. The only duel I don't have is the duel on Geonosis, which it came out in like 2013 or something like that, over a decade ago. I know that for sure, I hope, but I do want to pick that up and try and part that one out. I don't think I have, well, I don't have the Dooku. I've 3D printed the Dooku. Maybe I don't need the Dooku, but it'd be nice to get a Dooku minifigure next year with Revenge of the Sith and all that. But especially a Palpatine's arrest would be Palpatine's office, Palpatine sets in general, Palpatine's arrest, Palpatine's office, maybe another Vader transformation. Never get too many of them. But there are a ton of sets we could get. Not just Revenge of the Sith, to be fair. Just a year of Palpatine and just a year of Gonks, a year of Palpatine, year of the Palpatine, year of the Gonk. That'd be cool. 2014? No, I mean 2014 is still over a decade ago, because you got 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. That's the last decade. I'm just trying to save myself there. Anyway, on to Maul. A year. I think if Star Wars had themes like City has themes, it would make so many more sets more popular. Because if we had a year of Revenge of the Sith next year, Star Wars only did Revenge... they couldn't. If Star Wars only did Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and The Force Awakens next year, and didn't touch anything else, the following year, which as far as I'm aware isn't an anniversary of, well, probably a show, but not of any of the big movies, they do everything else. Maybe the odd set from the theme, depending on what they want to make, but they then do all the other sets. People have been starved of Luke's land speeder for at least a year at that point, and they can do another one of them, and I'm sure it will be popular. I'm sure there's a Luke's land speeder on the horizon. We haven't got one since the UCS Luke's land speeder, unless that's selling well enough they don't need it, but I'm pretty sure that's probably retired or retiring at some point. Anyway, I do think theming Star Wars a bit more would be maybe not years, but maybe have drops. So Revenge of the Sith come out, let's say, around May time. So May is just Revenge of the Sith. And then say Empire Strikes Back was like a November release, maybe September, slightly early, when Lego normally drop a ton of sets. Not usually Star Wars sets. I think Star Wars is July. But we'll say July is all Empire Strikes Back. And then maybe they have a drop in November. They do one set in November or something. Force Awakens, include most. Maybe what we need is like a diorama with a few of the main characters from Force Awakens, because it is what I consider to be a problem. There are so many minifigures on Bricklink, mind you. So maybe Lego are aware of that and don't want to make any sets. But so many fans of Star Wars that come in with these sequels, because it is that generation. There are going to be 10-year-olds that weren't alive when the prequels come out and saw the sequels in cinema and are getting into Lego. I mean, that's the age I was playing with a lot of Lego. So there's no sequel sets on the shelf. There's the Dark Falcon. The Rise of Skywalker Falcon's retiring. So for all purposes, perhaps that's out of stock most places already. We are going to forget about that set because it won't be here in a month and a half. And they've got the Dark Falcon so they can get Darth Bray. but it's based off Rebuild the Galaxy. It's not even based off the canonical Dark Ray. It's based off her appearance from Rebuild the Galaxy. Really like the Mandalorian cape, by the way. Really wish. What I'd like for Star Wars, little tangent here, is all Jedi and that come with the Mandalorian capes, but Lego do a little booster pack. It comes with some Mandalorian capes, so you can replace your old figures, some regular capes for those of you, maybe 2 Mandalorian capes, 2 regular capes, and a rubber cape like we see off Batman. Perhaps one in the style of Batman, one in the style of Loki. They do them in black. Black's the, sorry if I hit the mic there, black's the most common cape in Star Wars. Looking at my display, we've got a lot of black. We've got a white one on my custom Ahsoka the White. I'm not sure that counts. We've also got brown robes tend to be printed on now, which I think is pretty decent. We've got a tan one with Luke, with old Luke. So there's going to be some cases it doesn't work, but Lego don't really mind about that. There's going to be a custom printer or cape maker out there that probably has already done it in the color that people need. So people are just going to go to them. It'd be nice for Lego to sort of pair up. And I see why Lego as a massive name is a big risk they'd be taking if they did. But it'd be nice to see Lego pair up with a custom manufacturer for some of these accessories and maybe even just support, not claim them, not try and buy out a company like they did Bricklink, though they are worried about pairing up. It's always an option. But to come out and pair up with a cape manufacturer and go, well, if you make these capes into like a bundle, we'll sell it on lego.com. Not with the Lego name on it, just you know, sold on lego.com next to the sets. Lego could probably profit a little bit off it. It'd be nice to see. Not to mention a little beneficial in terms of their profits. Captain Rex said a lot of people, the word on the street, little birds are talking, and next year is meant to come with a Count Dooku. That would be my first official Count Dooku that I'd be picking up from Lego, because I 3D printed 2. I've got a third one on the way. That is a lightsaber. Whoops. But it's, I don't think I'll be including that on the mini diorama. But it will be really nice to see. We got 2 ends here. It'd be really nice to see a Count Dooku in a set. I would love to get a Dooku's Arrest, because I feel like that comes with a different Palpatine. That comes with Dooku's Arrest. Palpatine, Anakin, Kenobi, and Dooku. You can get four gonk characters in a battle pack there. There are a few scenes, I guess, across Star Wars that work with it. Now we will go with this. But it'd be nice to see a Dooku. I wonder what they're going to do, because for Revenge of the Sith, which being the anniversary, I am heavily persuaded it will probably be a Revenge of the Sith set. I'm assuming we are going to get a set based off, you know, Revenge of the Sith, but there is always a chance it's like an Attack of the Clone set that they've sneaked into the mix, because Lego don't always stick to one set theme. They do release a few different ones. And it's always a possibility, to be fair. You never know until the set hits lego.com. I always say you never know what the set's going to be. You can have a good idea, but you just never know. Christmas, you get in the Jedi Bob Starfighter. I have seen that. Seen it on a few discounts. Nothing special, but I've seen it on a few discounts here and there. And I've thought about it, but I'm not fussed about the clone. The big grab for me, I'll admit, isn't Jedi Bob. That's going to be a controversial opinion and then some. The big grab for me is actually the gonk that comes with it. I really, really like the servo. I sort of fell in love with servo before I saw the show, but then I saw the show and it just makes you love servo even more. I think servo... Gonky was fun from the Bad Batch, but I honestly think servo's one of my favourite gonk droids in the Star Wars universe. There's a few that might share that title, but servo's up there. And yeah, so I parted out servo when the set got released. I have a community post as well with it. I think I shared it with members first, and then the next day like posted it to everyone because I was so excited. But Jedi Bob, I've got the same debate almost with the Darth Maul in the Star Wars book. I can't remember what the book's called, but there was a, it must have been like a visual dictionary or something like that that came with one of the old Darth Mauls. Now, that book is the visual dictionaries I used to have. I think I donated them to charity a while back because everything's online now, and I never used them. But and they're probably worth quite a bit if I'd have kept them with the minifigure. But I'm never going to sell the minifigure, so they are not that valuable to me. But and it was nice to give them away to charity rather than throwing them away. But the mall is 20 quid with that book. You can pick up an older version of Maul for less than that. You can pick it up, I think Maul was going for, still about £5-10. It's not the cheapest of figures, but it is a lot cheaper than, it's a lot cheaper than half the figures there. If that was a Clone Trooper, if that was a Padme minifigure, whew, the price of that would be through the roof. So when I can pick up an old figure like Jedi Bob, for instance, Jedi Bob, very, very expensive minifigure, but that's in new, good condition. If you want a worn condition Jedi Bob, you can pick up Jedi Bob for like £10 in a really, worn condition. We're not talking about cracked torsos or anything, just a worn torso. And I'm not sure how many of them are actually the original Jedi Bobs or how many are people trying to resell the new one. But the minifigure is really it from the set. I could, I guess, turn it into like a Jedi Bob ETA or ETA Starship, but there's not been much of a grab for me to pick it up. But that being said, it is a really cool ship. So I hope you have fun building that, and definitely let me know if there are some hidden things, because with the Pirate Snub Fighter, which I rebuilt recently, it's just out of my reach, that had a few different hidden compartments, and I saw online that the Delta has a little like fruit bundle or fruit basket area, which it's proper Lego humor, adding the little fruit basket in. But if there's any other hidden bits, yeah, I'd love to hear about them. With all the sets coming out next year, I'm always thinking about the next set. I've got a wish list of a ton of different sets that I want to pick up at some point, but a lot of time I do rely on sales and stuff like that for them to go down in price, drop quite a bit, and usually it's before they retire. So it's the balance between picking it up sooner and it going on a sale later, really. But it's a really cool set to be getting. Right, it was the visual dictionary for Maul. Lego uses everything same in the books and never fixes the mistakes. Oh yeah, they copy over. I noticed that in the first two that I got, they copy over details, and I mean, I suppose because it passed the edit first time, they assume it's correct. Not always the case. You should always not re-edit, but you should always re-look over and get someone to double, triple check, quadruple check. And it would be a shame if someone has, and perhaps it's not an issue. We always assume, oh well, Brickset says the correct date, so why have Lego got it wrong? It might be an issue on Lego's database. It might be an issue deeper than we realize. But at the same point, if somewhere like Brickset is getting it correct, it's not a great look on Lego if they were to get them, even if it's just like a mix-up or something. If the information is on the internet, really, there's no reason Lego should be making a mistake. But like I say, we don't know what goes on behind closed Lego doors, so perhaps it is like a system error over it being like a book error or something. Hello there, Jedi Bricks. Have a good stream, thank you. It's been a really fun stream so far. We'll probably go on Q2, or we'll probably go on another 15 or 15 minutes. It depends how quick. I feel like Kenobi's diorama is going to be pretty quick. I feel like both of them actually are going to be pretty quick dioramas, because, oh, and hear me out here, we'll get back to Jedi Bob in just a second, because yes, going for €60, that's probably the start. It's starting off at €60, but I've seen a few damaged ones, not on Bricklink, but on like eBay. eBay's always thrown out there, not specifically eBay, but other sites going for a little cheaper, which there's definitely more risk with that. But we have, let me switch to desk cam mode. We have two left side dioramas here. Now, I was going to be building another, diorama on the left. Let me place this down just for this. But once you've got three of them, they're not going to look that good in the display. So instead of having three left ends, if I can turn this diorama into, speedily, a right end, we can then get a diorama in the middle. All right, let's switch back. Perhaps we should have this set to a timer so it just pops off and all that. But thank you very much, Jedi Bricks. They are dioramas I've built over the last couple of years. I'm not sure how much you've watched. You might have already seen all the videos, and I'm shrinking them down to these plates. I don't think I've told anyone on this stream so far, because Lego have an acrylic display. And the whole reason I'm shrinking these down is they've been on this little shelf down here with my parts, which makes it really, really hard to get to any 4x4 or 4x6 plates, I think are the most used ones. So they've been along here for a while, and I'm shrinking them down so I can get them into the same acrylic display that I've currently got a ton of. My fiance's currently got a ton of Harry Potter minifigures in, which I think could look really cool. And by creating these different ends to them, we're sort of keeping the scenes in together. This isn't a perfect match for a door or anything, but I do have a plan for building that up anyway. Look at that, that's gonna look cool. But if we create one end, another end, and have something in the middle, perhaps we can have the Tantive hallway scene in the middle of this, or perhaps this could be the middle for another display. Perhaps this would work better as a middle for another display. So I might even remove the door completely, but the reason I'm doing this is so we can then pair up, you can see just in the little corner, we can then pair this up with another diorama, and I think that could look pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how this goes down. I'm torn between making this an end and the Tantive an end, but for the Tantive we would need another door or a burning hole of a door or something like that. So I think instead, if we make this, again, the door will have to be flipped. I will flip it down. I'll probably do a video on these mini dioramas. This has been really, really fun, but I will flip that around and smooth out the back as well. I don't know if they make tall 1x1s in dark bluish grey. I have a whole drawer of bits here, but they all seem to be in light bluish grey. So I'd assume I probably have a drawer of them somewhere. I have a look after the stream, but let's get our minifigures across. Captain Rex, right. Every backpack comes with a vehicle. So every backpack comes with a vehicle and some side builds. What vehicle should you make for a Gonk battle pack? And you're going to post the battle pack instructions on Rubricable for free. Oh, what would a Gonk? It'd have to be something, whatever vehicle you decide to build or we decide to build, you'd have to get a little space at the back or where the engine, perhaps a speeder. A speeder would be really cool. Specifically, if you've watched The Mandalorian, there's a speeder with like an astromech that sort of, well, all the speeders really hide in a little hole, and we find out that they're actually some giant, like beefed up gym astromech. But what would be really, really interesting if you had a little hole for a Gonk to like lay down at the front or back, and that's the battery that then powers the speeder. I think that'd be really cool. Just these two Gonks driving along using a third Gonk as the battery. It's almost like a Star Wars equivalent of the Flintstones car where they have to power it by running along with their feet. I think that would be really cool. So if you do end up building a speeder, definitely a little engine spot, or perhaps the Gonk sticking out the front like the engine of a car, something like that. It's going to be hard. I don't know if that would work for battle pack size. I mean, I'm picturing something, you know, not too big, but like the minifigure scale Luke Landspeeder I've got here, which, you know, is one 6x8 base plate with a 6x8 with a 2x6 at the front. So we're looking 6x10 size, and something like that with two gonks sat in, and then a third gonk just as the engine. I think that could look. Oh, there we go. We got Hans Speeder as well. That has the engine sticking out a little bit. The gonk will stick out a bit more than that, but I think that would look really, really funny. So definitely let me know once you posted the instructions, because I'd love to do a quick like review, even if it's just a short or something. I'd love to review it here on the channel and perhaps get a few people over to Rubricable as well to download those instructions. So yeah, let me know, leave a comment on like a video or anything once you've got that built. And I don't know if you can post links in the comments, but if you let me know your Rubricable name, I'll definitely be sure to check it out. So we've now got another bookend. Is this level? Oh yeah, I don't have a tile on top. Oh, maybe I can just build it up one plate. Yeah, I'll think on that later. But now we've got two ends we need to bring. We've got Maul marching through, and I still think it's a bit funny how we've got the 95th Legion clone trooper just chilling in the 501st. Perhaps the 501st are adopting clones now. That's definitely a bit like the 501st. We'll have a slide this in. Oh, yeah, definitely let me know when it's out, and I will, even if it's just, I like what I've started like 5 sentences there. I like what Tiago Catarino, ex-Lego designer, who, to be fair, I probably watch the most for reviews of like the general sets, generic like botanical, and ones that aren't tied to Star Wars, Harry Potter, because there are other people with that. But I like what he does with the smaller sets and just does a community post reviewing it. But yeah, the least community post, you know, short, something like that, I'd love to give it a look. We've got, there we go. So as you can see, how it will work, I guess it doesn't really work with that in the middle, but there will be something in the middle, and then we'll have this like stretch of elongated diorama. And then what I'll probably end up doing is, because there's 2 rows, we'll then have another diorama like that. I think this could look really, really cool. And what do you know? A video idea is born live on the channel. So there'll be a video on that coming hopefully later this week. Again, basically 12 o'clock. The good thing is with the next diorama, oh, we haven't finished adding clones to this one. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So the good thing is with the next diorama is it's a fairly easy build. So we've got this Coruscant guard. He's holding the gun the wrong way, but I will solve that later. We've got the 501st being pushed. I think 3 is enough. I know we've got 4 Death Troopers, but I think if we add 1 more, it just gets a bit too crowded, and I think 3 will be enough. I've got a few more clones to add to my display. Oh no, I'm running out of room for clone troopers here. I can't be having more clones. I genuinely have 1, 2, 3 rows of clone troopers in my displays that I'm still working on. I'm still printing. I've just actually printed a few more parts to build, enough parts to build another one of those displays, and I've had to switch to a grey rather than black, which is really, really nice. I mentioned it, I think in the room tour. I mentioned it somewhere in one of my old videos, but one of my recent videos even, not that old, that was just the other day. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty cool, and that would make a really nice display. I still don't know where this purple hand come from. I'm trying to think of any minifigures I've used that have a purple hand. I think it does. Maybe it's not an official Lego hand. Maybe it's something else that I've got from who knows where. But yeah, we'll leave the hand down here just in case anyone wonders what the spare hand is for. But the next diorama, yes, I have sized this up, so I know this does work. We've got the New Republic. Ooh, I don't know what New Republic ship this is, but we have a New Republic ship, and it has this giant. I'm not too proud of this wall at the back. It's a very flimsy wall that's just, well, I am a little proud of it, I have to say. I'm a little proud of it because we've got masonry bricks. Oh, wow. That is white. We've got masonry bricks. Maybe this camera will be a little better. There we go. We've got masonry bricks stacked in all different ways, shapes, and form. It's easier to tell on the other side. So I'm quite happy with how it turned out, but it's just a wall of bricks. There's nothing too interesting. Whereas if I can pop this off in one piece, no. All right, it might take a bit more to get this across. I was hoping I could pop this off in one. But for this wall, oh, that's... Oh, yes. All right, I'm missing a jumper. Maybe I forgot the jumper plate initially, to be fair. There's no jumper plate here. Oh, no, here it is. Anyway, the wall's a bit more complex, is what I'm trying to get across. So this should be fairly easy to put across, I guess not really, but also put clean tiles where the gonks are going to stand. Yeah, just straight up tile it off, because I feel like with minifigures, they're quite... Here, we'll take this octane. I've got enough troopers now from the older style rebel troopers. I've got enough rebel troopers to add to this. But either way, the clean tiles, yeah, is the minifigures. What I was trying to say, the reason I got this is because the minifigures are quite small. You bend their legs, and they're still only like a 2x2, whereas the gongs take up... I know they only have 2 legs, but they take up 2x3. Some of them actually take up a 2x3.5 space. So there's definitely enough clutch power to try and secure those down. And yeah, that could work out quite handy, I think. But I look forward to seeing what the... I'm happy that I'm inspiring people to build gonk builds and the like in Lego, because that is, at the end of the day, why I started posting videos. It wasn't, you know, to be a job, which it's turned into. It's getting to be a job, at least. So I'm very happy that it's managed to work out this way. But even if I am making little silly mistakes, but at the end of the day, the reason I started posting videos here was to just inspire other people to build, to share my builds, because I could have just posted a few images on like Instagram or something if I wanted to share it. I didn't have to make big videos, but getting a closer look into some of the work that goes behind creating mocks and stuff like that, even downsizing these builds. Hopefully it inspires some people not to just break down sets. And like I said with the AV7, the AV7 and the AAT, for those of you that weren't in the stream earlier, I am going to build miniatures of, to try and almost like in memory of them. So you would have seen in my last room tour, they're since broken down, but in my last room tour, I had little builds of the X-Wing and the, it was the UCS set from this year, not the Salvage, the TIE Interceptor, because that had just come out, and I had mini builds instead of, you know, going out and buying the actual UCS sets, because UCS sets are expensive. But something like that, just to remember the AV7 and the AAT, which is still here. It's not been broken down. I am going to make instructions on this. It's just a matter of time. Probably something like this weekend, I'll probably dedicate a day to just breaking it down and making instructions once I got everything else done that I've put aside for the weekend. And it's only Monday. We haven't got that much, but I definitely will be making some form of instructions. Did this go straight on? No, is that legal? That's not legal. I will make it legal. But yeah, I'll let you choose what color gonks. Oh, there's got to be... What color gonks do we have? We have a lot of grey. We've got red, we've got green, we've got blue. I think a green one, being Master Mouldie, you know, the color. There's the logo. There's a logo somewhere if you're not in full screen. If you're in full screen, you have to take my word for it. Being green banner, being green profile picture, being green myself. Not myself. Not yet, at least. Who knows? Wicked is just about to come out. Anyway, yes, I think green should definitely feature on it. And oh, if there's anyone else watch it, I mean, we've got a few people tuned in right now. What color gonks? What colors would make a really nice gonk? Could do a little rainbow one. You can see on the clone wall we've got like green, yellow, red, and blue. They're quite nice. I feel like it depends on what color the speeder's going to be. There should definitely be that little engine gonk should definitely match with the speeder. But I feel like maybe having a few colourful gonks would make it like Lego did, like the big they did with the Sandcrawler battle pack. Having something like we got the red astromech in there. I only really remember the red astromech, and I'm pretty sure it had R2's body. But adding a little bit of colour could outweigh something like a sandy coloured or a dark blue or even a grey coloured speeder, because if your collection's anything like mine, the most range of elements you'll have will probably be in a light bluish grey, and then second to that, dark bluish grey, and then probably like yellow or blue. But I think if you are going to go for a grey speeder, definitely go for some really colourful gonks. If you're going for a colourful speeder, you could still go for some colourful gonks. But I don't know how you'd balance between the two of them, like the colour and the. Oh, that's not going to work. Oh, we can make it work. Between the gonks, something that complements the speeder well. I don't really know. I'm only just getting into colour mixing myself, let alone pairing up colours nicely. But I definitely think it should be something that goes along with the speeder and that looks nice. I mean, anything's going to look nice with the speeder, but something that really, sticks out with the speeder. All right, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought, but oh, did I have this on a plate? I might have had this on a plate, which is probably why this isn't working. Okie dokes. 1x4. Yeah, definitely a little bit of colour doesn't hurt, especially when it's Star Wars. I think they're the mocks that stand out the most, because a lot of the stuff I've built, especially recently with the Snub Fighters and the Snub Fighter alternate builds, they're the something fell. They're the ones that stick out to me. Nice bit of colour and a 2x2. Nice bit of colour and a 1x2 even. But I cannot wait to see what you come up with for that. That's quite exciting, actually. It's like waiting for a Lego set to come out, but it's a mock. All right. 1, 2. Yep, we'll add that. And then no, I feel like that was just a plain wall above that. That's something as well. Usually, well, when I built these original dioramas, I had reference images on the screen. So it was a little easier to put these together and to, yeah, well, I knew what I was building because it was on screen. But now not having that reference image and trying to create something similar is a bit, well, it's very difficult, actually. So I will replace the Octan minifigures with some, the ones that are just running away, with some, not New Republic troopers. We're yet to get a New Republic trooper from Lego, but definitely with some of the Rebel troopers, which I think could be interesting. There we go. We'll have someone arms both forward. So now I can hopefully show off. Oh, we still don't have a full row. I've got to do the Kenobi one. It's just gone 12. Normally we end up here. I'll be going on for a little longer, hopefully like 15 minutes. If it's not straightforward, I'll do most of it behind the scenes and after the stream pretty much. But as you can see, not only does it line up well, it also lines up, or at least it will once the wall is complete, with the blast door, which I think could look really, really nice. And then on top of that, so we also have the Dark Trooper attack and the Mould diorama lining up. Again, it will look a lot better when it's in the scene with a tantive in the middle. But then we have, well, this isn't going to line up with the base. Let me pop this off real quick. We also have the Kenobi diorama that is going to line up really nice with that angle. All right, so far we have 3. Oh yeah, we didn't take the base off of that. That one was cheating. 3 out of 4 successes with the bases, but then we put this next to it, and I will have to shrink that a little bit. That is really, I mean, it's only a brick taller at the bottom, so how many? It's exactly 2 bricks taller than the rest of them. So I will have to shrink this by a brick. I'll probably just knock off the whole top bit. We could probably even get like a mini strip of dioramas at the top if I really wanted to, you know, beef it up. But this is then going to be the next one. I think the 16 stud should give us enough for a slightly reduced window. But again, I think the window is pretty big for how the window looks in this scene. I'm going to revisit some images after the stream and try and keep the detail, and then we'll have the doors as well at the side, which I don't think will be movable doors, but I would still like to keep that angle on them. So I'll probably brick these out, square these off, and then have a, I think I've got something laying around, yeah, have something like this piling up to create that angle of the door without having a window this side. But in saying that, looking at this, I don't think I'll be able to slope off this side of the door. The base plate we are building with is half the size of this, so we probably only got room for one of the doors in the first place. If you have a look, I'm only going to fit one of the doors on the base plate, so that's going to be nice and squared. We won't have the feature of moving the door around, so I'm just going to brick that in. At the minute, these troopers are pretty much single-headedly holding back the doors. But like I said, this is going to take a bit of work, so I'm going to go have my lunch and get back to working on this. I probably won't go live again just because that might confuse a few people. But thank you to everyone. Shout out to the comments. I'm pretty certain in saying this has been the most comments we've got live in one of these live streams. So shout out to everyone that has dropped a message. I know a few of you had to dip earlier on in the stream. That is perfectly fine. Thank you for dropping by when you did. I now have a massive mess. I mean, we've got a load of these. I don't even know what's here. We've got a load of plates and everything to clear up. A few different base plates, a few minifigures that I'll need to move, and 2 more dioramas to build. But you've seen it here. You've seen most of them built live on the channel. So thank you for joining this live stream. That is all for today. We're actually wrapping it up sort of like 2 hours, 10 minutes, which I think is probably the shortest stream we've done on the channel. I'm pretty sure none of us have got closer to the, I see the emojis popping off in the chat. None of us have got closer to 2 hours than this, but that is all for today's live stream. Don't forget, next week is the final live stream of 2024, and in 2025, there will be many, many more build streams, much like this, only we might be building mocks and sets live here on the channel. So if you are excited for that, be sure to smash subscribe, as well as drop a like if you are enjoying the live streams here on the channel. And as always, may the bricks be with you.